Yes, welcome along to episode 12 of Upping The Ante in association with Bet365 with David Jennings and Johnny Dineen, counting down to the 2025 Cheltenham Festival. And Johnny, I suppose we have to start with the bunk beds. Everybody wants to know, did you get them up and did you help?
No, I didn't. A guy came and did them. Took him an hour and a half. So that'll tell you what it would have taken me.
What would you multiply that by if you were doing?
Oh, to be still at it, I'd say. Yeah, we're still looking at it. Right, looking at it. No, I look when it took a guide out. It's an expert and does. That's what he does. Like for a living, putting those things up an hour and a half. I can't imagine how long the length of time it would take me. We'd be still there. We'd be still there in 10 years' time. That's where we'd be. We'd just be thrown in the corner.
So they're up now. How are they taken to the bunk beds?
One of them wouldn't go in. Yeah, we're playing them all right, but didn't want to take the sleep. Didn't want to stable for the evening anyway. So she's still in with myself and the missus.
So you're after forking out for these bunk beds, and she's still sleeping between us.
I know, yeah, and I had to sleep in the bunk bed myself one night. not the top level now. The bottom.
You wouldn't go up to the top. Why, are you scared of heights?
No, what happened was the oldest one, it was in there. And she had a phone and it was on, and I didn't wake her up till they get it. She was listening to the phone to go to sleep, you know what I mean? So I woke her up, and then she woke up and she didn't know where she was. And next thing she started crying, and next thing she wanted to go back, and I said, I'll stay. So we finished up bringing her down to the bottom section, and I had to sleep with her. so I've experienced the bunk bed. The other one hasn't yet, the smaller one.
So the bunkers aren't going great so far?
No, well, we've won in now. We'll get the other one to load at some stage.
Okay, there we go. And I have to give, I was in Anfield at the weekend, Johnny.
Oh, I heard
Liverpool
that,
and Ipswich.
yeah.
I have to give a shout out to Matt Morris. He tweeted me on X on Friday and said that he was a manager of the tours over there, and he said, if you want to bring you and the family for a tour, I'll give you a tour of Anfield. So we got a tour of Anfield on the Saturday morning. Sure, the young lads were beside themselves.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Unbelievable tour. So shout out to Matt, brilliant job and thoroughly entertaining tour. And they won 4-1, and we were in the Cop. What could go wrong?
Oh, were you in the Cop, is it?
Yeah,
oh, right,
yeah.
And did they stand in the Cop or sit down?
So there's seats, but you stand. And there's a kind of a rail in front of you that you can stand on. So you can lean on the rail in the front. Unbelievable setup, and the atmosphere was unbelievable.
Even in a turkey shoot like that, no, it'd still be the same, would it?
Oh, standing up, turkey.
No, but like when it's a team that they're expected to beat and they do hammer them, they still.
Unbelievable, yeah.
All right, okay.
Yeah, singing the whole way through, and we learned all the words to the songs, all that. So brilliant experience. Yeah.
Okay.
Will you get over to Old Anfield yourself?
I've never been to it. No.
Have you not?
No, I have never been to it. No, I've been to a few grounds in England, but that wasn't one of them.
Okay, well, we have to sort that out. We've a lot to get through. We've the Dublin Racing Festival preview as well, and we've got tips for the Cheltenham Festival. Better get on with the show, will we?
Do, yeah, absolutely.
Let's get on with the show. So let's kick off with Johnny's week in review. He's won for the first 3 weeks of the year. In our time in Upping The Ante, I think it's unprecedented that you've won for 4 weeks in a row. Have you done it, Johnny?
Yeah, I did. I won. Look, I could win 10 weeks in a row, no problem in the world. But I have.
Well, it was a problem the last 2 years.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but I could lose 10 weeks or more in a row as well. Do you know what I mean? So
you had a good week.
I had a reasonable week.
And of the 4 so far, where would it rank?
Well, the third one was my best one. The first one I won virtually nothing. I won a few quid. My last week I had a decent week.
So be number 2. Okay.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, but
what made it so good?
Actually, I don't think it's half right, you know. But I do a lot of betting too at the same time. You know what I mean? So, but I've had years where after say 3 months. Say January, February, March, you'd say to yourself, like, geez, if I can multiply this by 4, I'll have a good year. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it doesn't happen like that.
Like when you get to November, you're not even winning what you were winning in March. You stood still for maybe 8 months, and then you've expenses, obviously, like the normal everyday expenses to come out of it. So you finish up like going into Christmas with nothing, basically. You know what I mean? So and this time last year, I was losing what I'm winning this year, if you know what I'm saying. I had a bad start to the year last year. It took me ages to get going. Like I was definitely a good bit behind in January, whereas this year I've won it. So
what are you doing right then?
I don't know. I honestly don't know what it is.
That's good advice for everybody in Upping The Ante.
It's look.
There's no rhyme or reason.
I don't think so.
Really?
No, I don't. I've had good starts of the year, bad starts of the year, good finishes, bad finishes, all through my years betting. I couldn't put a finger on it.
Okay.
But it is easier to bet when you're winning, though, at the same time.
Oh yeah. Okay. What was your best result for the last week?
Best result for me, like I always say, the first bet's important. I backed La Pince there in where was that, Huntington on Thursday.
That looked beaten.
He looked in trouble, yeah. Although I never felt I was actually going to lose, but because I always kind of half thought he might be half caught in the other yoke, you know. But it wouldn't, like, it only won under a length, and it definitely went outsider in betting in the running.
So what price did you back that at?
About, I think around 4 to 5.
So 4 to 5, kind of looks beaten. Trades bigger in running, trades odds against in running. How are you feeling when it crossed the line in front?
Look, it's the first play of the day, and I have another one coming up that I was going to lay the first favourite in Wetherby, and that was beat. So I was off to kick 2-2 back-to-back. So, but the next thing then is my worst result of the week, followed about an hour later. Do you know what I mean? I laid that in running at 20-something to 1, a spur of the moment. You see that race in Gordon?
Keith Donoghue.
Yeah.
Unbelievable, right?
Yeah. I do a lot of betting.
So you laid that in running at 20 to 1?
22 to 1, I think it was.
22 to 1?
Yeah. But I put up.
That's Mike Tyson punching in the stomach sort of stuff.
I put up money against it anyway. And, do you know, like I had forgotten about it. It was tail, there's no chance. I was not even watching it. And there was this thing cruising going to the lads. I don't even know who this is, what's that, and who trains that, and that's going to win. And next thing, out of the corner of my eye, I see a man coming. Now, I didn't even think he was going to still trouble the leaders, but I could see him closing a small bit. And next thing, he starts really closing. And, you know, like I hadn't bothered cancelling some of the bets, you know what I mean? And, you know, do you ever try to cancel a bet when you know it's going to be matched already? Right. Like it's like a fella trying to save himself drowning. You know what I mean? You're trying to cancel even though you know it's pointless. Right, okay. You know it's totally pointless because it's already been made. But you're trying to press the cancel. Next thing, when I'm cancelling it, like the horse is in front.
Yeah. So you didn't get out?
No, I didn't get out of trouble. No, I had a bad race there, and I had a bad race. Nick Rocket, I laid that in running too.
Did you?
So my running skills weren't exactly working on Thursday.
Thought it was a fantastic ride from Paul.
Yeah, I thought it had no chance after about a mile and a quarter when it dropped places and that. You know
and like I think somebody said it was 11th pass. Like after the race, you can think, oh, it was always up there. Anybody would have won on it. I think it was 11th passing the winning post with a circuit.
Yeah, having been about third or fourth, like you know what I mean. And usually them horses never get back into the race, but I don't know. He found a strip of ground in that place. Townend did. I don't know. It was a cracking ride now anyway. But I actually thought at one stage that was not going to finish. I was able to lay that 6 and 7 to 1. I was delighted to be laying it, and I was on the second as well at 30 to 1. Velvet Elvis. So that was a bit of a blow too. I finished up losing on the day after a good start, but just do it. That's gambling all out.
You won for the week, Johnny.
Yeah,
that's
something
the most
anyway.
important thing.
Exactly.
And Johnny Dineen is 4 from 4 for 2025 with the Dublin Racing Festival coming up. That was Johnny's Week in Review. So, folks, it's time for Ask Us Anything, where you get to have your say, get your questions in to Upping The Ante at racingpost.com, and we will answer what we think are the best ones. And the first one this week comes in from Phil Hayes, and it's a very topical one. What is Johnny's view on British-based trainers asking for £500,000 for interviews on television, Johnny? And if they don't get it, they could boycott television interviews from Saturday, the start of February. So what's your thoughts? Should they be paid to be interviewed on television?
Look, I mean, I suppose a lot of people would say they shouldn't. And look, if they were delivering a cutting edge or a proper insight, if they were willing to answer maybe some probing questions, I could see why they should be paid. You know what I mean? Yeah. But for the normal, he's in good form, or he kicked the bucket at home, or not kicked the ball, licked it up and all this sort of nonsense, or he's working well and all this rubbish. I mean, I don't think they should be paid for that. But if they were able to, like, what I would say is, if they were willing for maybe someone to come and put their microphone under their chin and say, just say, I'm the trainer, you're the interviewee, right? And I'm saying Sandown, right?
Okay. Let's do this then. So let's pretend you're Evan Williams, who brought off a monumental gamble the other day, okay?
Yeah.
And I'm Andrew Thornton, okay? And Evan, bit of money for your horse in the last race there, Evan. Been a big gamble today. What's your thoughts?
You want to be mad about that? Yeah. Let me on first.
So what? But
we're not on yet. Don't do anything.
So what's if the trainers are paid this money, what should the answer be to that question? Like they're not going to give the game away.
No. But I think if a fella is going to come on, he has to answer. Like what I would like to see something like this happen is that I'm the trainer, you're the interviewer. You come to me and say, okay, your horse it's the first time out. What do you think? And I say, oh yeah, he's in great form. Is he fit enough, right? And I say, oh yeah, he's fit. Well, Ruby and Big Fitz have been looking at him in the ring, and they've watched horses all their life. They say he's big as a house. What do you say to that? Do you know what I mean?
Probing question.
Yeah. And say, look, well, these guys know horses inside out, and they're saying he ain't fit. You're saying he is. We're going to revisit this afterwards. Is that okay? We'll see how he gets on. And maybe if they pay
You mean business here, John?
maybe if those guys are able to answer those kind of questions, then maybe they weren't getting money. But for the normal, oh, he's in great form and all this sort of stuff, like, or was that a surprise to you at 480 to 1? You know what I mean? Winner. Oh, there's no surprise to me. Do you know what I mean? Like, I said to Jimmy the jockey, like, if you keep your contact lenses on, you'll win here. Do you know what I mean? All you have to do is steer this fella. I know he's 500 to 1. Don't worry about that. He will win. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? When the one wins in a million to 1.
But is that not fanciful thinking, Johnny, that they're going to give you the truth? Like,
well, if they're not going to give you the truth, they didn't deserve to be paid, do they? Like, you know what I mean?
There's your answer, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe so. But I suppose some fellas will give the truth. But I don't know. I like. Like, who's getting the money? Is it some sort of a trainers association, or is it into their actual
Well,
pockets?
the jockeys obviously goes towards insurance and that kind of stuff into a fund, like.
Yeah, and is this the same way here?
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. See, if it was going into an association that every fella benefited from, because not every trainer is going to be interviewed, are they? Really? Do you know what I mean? And a lot of fellas, like if the ITV is on, say, Sandown of a Saturday, and there's 4 or 5 races there, like, the fella with 6 horses down in the south of Wales isn't going to ever be on the telly, is he? Like, you know what I mean? But he might benefit from these guys. I don't know what.
So you're not totally against it.
No,
anyway.
but if they were willing to answer the proper questions, and it should be the same with jockeys. Like, you obviously there's jockeys, like the winning jockeys been interviewed. I'd like to see the fellas who were second been interviewed and see what he thought. Like, I'd like
they do that on ITV now after the big races, yeah.
Yeah, I like that. They did that in Cheltenham last year a few times. Going into they say, well, and your man says, no, I was never travelling.
Well, they did it on Saturday as well.
Did they? Yeah. But I'd like to ask the fella that looked around turning in and was three lengths behind, and looked around and thought he had won, and then fluffed the last and gets speed ahead. And you'd like to say, well, what was that looking around about? Do you know what I mean? Did you not throw away the race there and see what he says? You know what I mean? Yeah. If they're going to be getting paid, answer those type of questions.
So is that the equivalent then of just say you tipping a horse and up in the ante? And next week come back, well, hold on a second, Johnny. You said that horse was a good thing and it didn't win. Is that what you're equating it to?
Yeah, kind of, yeah. But I don't mind criticism. I don't care if fellas said, I'd say, well, like, okay. But the horse's performance is outside of my control. It's not outside the jockey's control at times.
Okay, there we go. So he's not totally against the idea of giving trainers £500,000, but Johnny thinks they have to be proper questions. Our second question this week comes in from David Ladd, and it's a cracker that we haven't got on the show before, and I'm even dying to know the answer to this. And the question is this: does Johnny Dineen traditionally make more money each year on the flat or over jumps, and which code is your favourite? So where does Johnny Dineen make all his money to pay for all these bunk beds?
Look, there's no easy answer to it. There isn't, to be honest. I could have a good jumps season, or else a bad one. I could do the same in the flat. Last year I won in the flat. Other years I kind of half struggled. I would say
over. So let's use a 20-year period.
I'd have preferred the jumps for sure, absolutely. And I'd rate my opinion in the jumps higher than I would in the flat. I get a lot more help in the flat. I look for a lot more help in the flat. Okay. You know, ringing other people around and see what they think in that. I'd possibly go a bit more on my own bat off the jumps. I'd say that much. The one thing I do like about the flat is that I have a lot less bets, and a lot of the flat racing doesn't appeal to me at all. I hardly ever bet in sprints, very rarely. Might bet in 2-year-olds for 6 furlongs up, never ever have a bet in a 5 furlong race.
So you never ever have a bet in something like the Woking or anything
like
that?
I wouldn't even look at that. Yeah.
Some people earn their living off that.
Yeah, well, they don't. Them kind of like stewards' cups and things like that. Where there's going to be a draw bias, a dirty draw bias, or possible draw bias. Not interested. Air Gold Cup. So there's so many races on a day in the flat that I've no interest in whatsoever. Even though I could watch them. I could be sitting there watching them, but I wouldn't have a bet in a million years in them. Whereas the jumps, you'd be more interested, and you could have a lot of bets maybe in a jumps card or a jumps day. You wouldn't have as many bets in the flat. Like if I look at it, just say there's a place like Gorn Park of a Thursday, and there's a 7 furlong maiden to start, and there's a mile and 1 furlong maiden at the end. The races in between make no appeal to me whatsoever. Like the 0 to 65s and round bends, and they coming up to stand side and all that kind of stuff. I don't like the flat racing myself when they don't go the shortest way home. That means if they move off the rail, I don't like them tracks. Okay. There are tracks where I've found it hard to win over the years.
What are they?
I tell you what used to be a great track for punting one time, and it's got to be the worst. It's Kilbeggan. Oh. You couldn't lose Kilbeggan one time. Yeah. When I was like 20 years ago, you'd back the winner the first, second, novice chase, and you could even back the winner the bumper. Nearly every night was on. No, you couldn't have bet there. It's the
Why, what's
standard of
changed?
horses there are just atrocious nowadays.
Okay.
Like that time, Noel Mead and all, the Paul Carby, they'd bring certainties to Kilbeggan. You know, the oaks that maybe failed to win a maiden hurdle or novice hurdle, like proper horses, they could be 5 or 4 on 11 year, and they wouldn't even, you wouldn't have to move in them. Like, they'd go around and bolt in. But nowadays the horses are ordinary. I nearly prefer the flat to summer jumps. Summer jumps, like the bad summer jumps is real bad. And the ground could be quick enough, and you've bad type of horses. The answer to the question is, I don't know. I actually prefer watching.
You prefer the jumps?
Yes.
Okay.
But I'm not averse to betting in the flat either, because I can maybe contain myself a bit more as well. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm going to rephrase the question there, right? If going forward from today onwards, if for the rest of your life you could only bet on flat racing or you could only bet on jumps, you had to pick, what would you pick?
I'd have to go to jumps. Yeah.
Jumps,
I would, because there's too many races in the flat I have no interest in.
Okay, there you go. We got there in the end, David. Next up is Darren McCarthy, and Darren says it is the 10-year anniversary, holy God, of Ante-Power's famous fall at the last hurdle, in the Mayor's Hurdle at Cheltenham. And he wants to know, how did Johnny Dineen feel when she came down? Was he absolutely gutted because he had done a big multiple on, of course, the 4 Willie Mullins good things that day? Or was he absolutely delighted because you had laid Ante-Power?
No.
10 years ago. Does it feel like 10 years?
It doesn't actually. No, it doesn't. I was gutted, not because I backed her, but I hadn't laid her. Do you know?
You were a bookie in Cheltenham this day.
Yeah. I was a bookie, and I was doing things right, and because I didn't lay Duvan for much. I was on the SOA Ante-Post. I lost in the third race. A horse of Mulholland's won the
Drew's nephew.
Yeah, that thing. Yeah, and I was on Faheen at evens.
You back Faheen?
Yeah, so I didn't back any power, but I didn't lay her either. And look, bookies, they always like if a favourite wins and you haven't laid it, or you haven't lost in the race, it's like winning yourself. You know what I mean? There's that thing in your psyche. So I'm watching the race hoping she'll win, because I haven't laid her. No, even I haven't backed her either. But you want to get a race over where every fella's lost and you won. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're a lovely fella, Johnny.
No, but you know what? I just love making a book in England, because the one thing I love making a book in Cheltenham is about is that the bookies, the fellas betting alongside you, they didn't mind you cheering the home favourites. You couldn't do that in Ireland. You know what I mean? Because you're with fellas every day of the week, and you couldn't cheer home favourites. You couldn't, like, you know, Gerwin Price jump.
And did you get stuck in at celebrating? Yeah. I can't imagine you.
You would if you backed the favourite in Cheltenham.
Yeah. So what kind of stuff would you be at?
It's the only place you'd roar one home.
What would you be at? Like?
You'd be hand up in the air with the card and all. You would.
I can't imagine you doing that.
You would, but it was. But But they didn't mind doing it either if they got a result, or some, like the bookies. Some of the bookies next to me that I bet alongside, they used to do the same thing. Like I would have at the start, I would not my mouth in the favour win, even if I was on it. Do you know what I mean? But the next thing I see, these guys were cheering home favourites left, right, and centre.
So
I
you got
said,
stuck in.
I might as well. Sure, we might as well join in here. Yeah, but because in Ireland, if you were making a book and you know, if the fella next to you had a bad race and you were on the favourite, do you know what I mean?
And have you mellowed since as a punter in the stands now? Do you get carried away at all?
No, not really. No, I would cheer one home.
Would you give
maybe
a shout?
At the odd time, yeah. Especially if you needed it.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, if you needed it, like it would be more. Oh, geez, keep them going, will you? Yeah. Rather than a big roar, but like that there was the one thing difference between the English and Irish fellas is that they just cheered with their pocket. They didn't care who was betting alongside him. I like that part of it, to be honest.
What was the atmosphere like in the ring when she fell? Of course, Ante-Power was fine after the fall and got up, as did Ruby. But it was the most surreal feeling of any sporting event I've always been at.
It was eerie, yeah. It was actually, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It must have been like, in Milan, if you're watching the Champions League final with Liverpool in 2005 and you're in Milan and you're kind of celebrating the first half, you're 3-0 up, and then you're beaten, like if you're an Italian in Milan, you're an AC Milan supporter. It must have been something like that, because it was remarkable, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. It was silent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was when that horse.
It's almost like it didn't feel like it happened. How could it happen?
Yeah. Look, it was one of those things. But I mean, it was the one that got away from a lot of punters, wasn't it? At the same time, but as I said, when you get a race like that and you haven't laid a favour, the natural thing is, like, don't tell me, it's the natural thing. You wanted to win. You know what I mean? Okay. You wanted to win.
But it didn't affect you one way.
It didn't affect me financially, but
mentally.
I was yeah, like, because every bookie was back in the game, and like, I was back in the game before the race.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But they were going to be bang out of it if that had won.
So what we've learnt there is Johnny isn't a team player. He's on his own. He's an individual sportsman, individual bookie. Great question. And our final question this week comes in from Kevin Quinn. And Kevin wants Johnny to rank these 4 Nicky Henderson hot pots at the Cheltenham Festival from 4 down to 1, 1 being the biggest certainty. So we have got Sergino, Constitution Hill, John Bon and Lulamba, the 4 7 Barrows good things. Johnny Dineen, I want you to rank them from 4 down to 1. Starting off with 4, the most vulnerable.
It's Constitution Hill, I would have thought. That's my reading of it anyway. At the minute.
On.
Yeah, I just.
No, you answered that really quickly as well, so you're no doubts.
Yeah, I think he's still.
So you give John Bon more chance than Constitution Hill?
I'd rather back John Bon than I wouldn't back Constitution Hill.
Even if they were the same price. So just say both of them are 6-4, you'd rather back John Bon.
Yeah, I would actually, yeah.
Because that's the terms and conditions of this question.
But
Pretend they're all the same price.
Would hardly be 6-4, wouldn't it?
No, but just for the purpose of the question, pretend they're all the same price.
Yeah.
So Constitution Hill is the most vulnerable. What did you make of him on Saturday?
Yeah, actually, look, he looked good. Of course he did, but we didn't beat a whole lot. But look, I wouldn't fault what he did on Saturday or anything like that. Look, the thing about Constitution Hill is if you want to oppose Constitution Hill, you're betting on one thing only, that he's not as good as he was. Do you know what I mean? Like the old Constitution Hill, it wouldn't even be up for debate whether he'd be.
How do we know he's not the old Constitution Hill?
I just think horses are horses. They never get better, do they? Like as they rarely get from they go to these kind of ages, and he's been off a year. Look, I think my own reading might be wrong. If Lassimo turns up and Brighter Days Ahead, okay, that's just 2.
Which they definitely will.
Well, Brighter Days Ahead, they're saying it's going for the race now. I don't know whether that. Well,
anyway.
But anyway, look, if they do, and they're 2 credible opponents, in my opinion. That's assuming Lassimo wins next weekend, obviously. I wouldn't be mad keen on taking on Constitution with just one of them running, but 2, I'd take a chance. Look, he definitely has dodgy breeding, doesn't he? He must have anyway. You know what I mean? And if he has to strain every sinew, that's the time that these things will come against the horse, in my opinion, anyway. And I fancy he will in a race like that. I'm just guessing that he may not be as good as he was. And like, if I would have never said he'd been, it wouldn't even be as I said, it wouldn't even be a conversation if he was as good as he was 2 years ago. But my guess is that he's not going to be as good. And you're betting on the horse's health. You're not betting on his ability at the same time.
So you did say, and you were quoted on this show and in the Racing Post newspaper, saying at 4-6 as it was at the time with sponsors, you said that Constitution Hill for the Champion Hurdle at 4-6 was the worst price of the century. So that is 25 years, Johnny. The worst price you've seen. Are you still standing by that?
I think that's a bit of hyperbole. Yeah, of course. But it's a bad price, though. 4-6.
Okay.
It is. It's no value at all. Like if it only had to take care of one of them, that'd probably be about fair, but not 2.
And right now, if the race was tomorrow, they're both running Lassimo and Brighter Days Ahead. Which one beats them?
I'd go Brighter Days Ahead, I think.
Okay.
But I think another thing against Constitution Hill that could be against it is if these problems that horses have, if they surface, it'll be the deeper the ground is, the more chance they are to surface. You know what I mean? Whereas he may get through a race with maybe with his wind if the ground was good. Whereas if it was soft or heavy, it would increase your confidence.
So good on bad ground as well, isn't he?
Oh, I know that, yeah, but I'm just saying that he has form and fellas say, sure, he wouldn't. I know he did all those things 2 years ago at the same time.
Okay.
You're just betting on his well-being.
Not the horse he was, and he is the least.
I'm hoping that he's not the for laying purposes.
Okay,
yeah.
so he is not the horse he was, according to Johnny, and he is the least likely of Nicky Henderson's 4 hot pots to win. Perish the thought. Okay, number 3.
I'd go John Bon here, 3.
John Bon, okay.
Yeah, I think I fancy him, but I don't think he's a good thing either. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I do. Just the fact that his course record is, you could pick holes in that kind of stuff. And maybe if the ground came up slow, Gaelic Warrior could maybe make some sort of an effort against him. But he looks to be in charge of every other horse in the race anyway. That'd be about the only one you'd be kind of half worried about, I think. But he'd look like, at the minute anyway, he'd be very hard to beat, I would say.
Okay, number 2.
Number 2, I'd go
So you're left with Lulamba and Sergino.
I'd go with Sergino.
Oh.
Number 2, yeah. Just the fact that the Irish horses like Magborough, maybe Ede, that's a big race on Saturday for Sergino. Maybe Ballybourne wasn't quite at his best. Who knows? It was probably the track, probably all against that horse. I don't even rate Ballybourne in here for starters. But saying that, you have to say Sergino was wildly impressive, and he's going to be very difficult to beat.
That leaves Lulamba number 1. Why?
Yeah, I just think, even though East India Doc is a good horse and a very good horse, I have a feeling Lulamba could be a special horse, if you know.
I agree.
What? And like, okay, Stencil was up against that horse the other day. Like, East India Dock is a really good horse, and he's able to put away Fred Winter horses at ease. But I think Lulamba could be a proper triumph hurdle horse. You know what I mean? And there is a difference between the Fred Winters, the likes of Quentock Hills and them, and the proper triumph hurdle horse, who I'd say Lulamba is. East India Dock is a triumph hurdle. He's a chance now. He definitely has, and he's a very professional horse. His jumping is brilliant. He does a lot right. But I just think when it comes to it, I have a feeling Lulamba will be able to take him.
Okay, there we go. There is Johnny Dineen's 1, 2, 3, 4. His thoughts on the Henderson Hot Pots. It is number 1, Lulamba. Number 2, Sergino. Number 3, John Bon. And the weakest of them all is Constitution Hill. So it's Star of the Week time here on Upping The Ante, where Johnny Dineen counts down his top 3 performances from the last week. Number 3.
Number 3, I went with Rocky's Diamond, the horse that won the Galmoy Hurdle in Gorn. Like, for a 5-year-old who last April was 100-1 to win a maiden hurdle and beat Palamon into 22 to land the Gamble in Limerick. Like, it's only his 6th run. Like, most 5-year-olds wouldn't even run the bumper at this stage. You know what I mean? A lot of them. Yet this guy is like, after winning the Grade 2 over hurdles, and he's like in some sort of contention for maybe
Great operation, the Queelies.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, place chance maybe in a stairs hurdle. Like, it's a fairly meteoric rise for a 5-year-old. And on top of that, like, I actually had to look him up on Thursday to see what's Rocky's Diamond. I didn't know what horse that was at all, because I hadn't noticed he was turned to home by the Lee at 66 to 1. His previous run was against something down Gorn after 1, 2, 3 in a handicap. But even the other day, I was betting on running all day, and there's another race I lost in this one, but I had laid Hidden Valley Lake for something, and this next thing, he took off in the middle of the race. You couldn't hold him, and he ran away with him for definitely for the middle section of the race. And I said, he was about 92, and I said, he can't keep going, but he did, and like, he battled horses left and right. Like, it was a great effort for a horse so young, like 5 years of age, and he's in contention for where, as I say, most horses, most fellas at 5-year-olds, they wouldn't even have run the race yet. It's a fairly, like, what's the word, meteoric rise from such a low base, right, in a very short space of time. Yeah, so look,
could he be placed in a stairs hurdle?
He's only 5-year-old. He has to be getting better. You know what I mean? Yeah, you wouldn't be shocked, would you? Because I'd say he's even better than his run in Gorn, because now, saying that, the stairs hurdle brigade aren't great, but like, if you take KT Hoopo out of it, are any of them any good, really? Do you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, number 3 was Rocky's Diamond. Number 2,
I went with East India Dock. Yeah. I just think it was like, if you backed him. No, I didn't back him. He was short. I left him go. But if you did back him, you never really had a moment's worry. Now, Stencil challenged him for the lead early on, but like, his jumping was magnificent. He's a very professional horse, isn't he? Like, very likeable horse. He's improving.
It's the line hard in his races.
He's course form. He doesn't delay from the back of the last, does he? Like, he puts himself in the Triumph Hurdle picture anyway with a big chance. Let's say, like, I can see how fellas will back him on the day. I personally think he might come up short, but saying that, it was a good effort, and like, he goes there with a good chance at the same time.
Okay, that's 2. Okay, is East India Dock right? I haven't a clue now, but I'm gonna try and guess your number 1, because there's a few that you haven't mentioned there that put in good performance over the weekend.
You won't get this one easy now.
Really, I would say it's probably, if I was betting now, I'd make Dancing City favourite.
No.
I lost.
No, you would.
What day is it?
Saturday.
Where?
Fairy House.
Saturday in Fairy House. Aurora Vega?
No.
Cowabunga?
Yeah.
Cowabunga?
Yeah,
wow.
Cowabunga impressed me immensely. Like, the reason I didn't put in the like Stencil is that they gave him the present race for starters anyway. Well, I like Dancing City. Really,
these are the terms and conditions that you keep changing every week.
Yeah. But he's a really good horse, Dancing City. The really, really good horse. And he'd be my idea of the winner of the Brown.
Would he?
He would, yeah, he would. I'd like him. His jumping is just a small bit careful, but maybe not pinpoint. But he's safe. He's maybe too safe. But anyway,
why did you like Cowabunga?
I went with Cowabunga. Look, it was a really, really good maiden hurdle. Like, the 3 of those horses that contested that were all second in goodish races at Christmas in Leopardstown. You just said that they couldn't miss in a maiden hurdle next time out, and the next of the 3 were running against each other. William Money ran well too, because he did a share wrong. But I just like the way Cowabunga tied with him now, basically.
Yeah, Mark Walsh knew the whole up straight, he had everything covered.
Oh, he had, yeah, and he didn't kill him, and I'd say possibly a better horse at 2.5 miles. I'd say, look, on the back of that, if he made Kopek the board again, he'd have every chance to maybe turn it around. I don't know. He smacked me, like, he struck me as being a possible festival winner anyway.
Wow,
Cowabunga,
okay.
yeah. It would. It'd be interesting to see what happens between Kay Doughty and Cowabunga the board at the weekend, and the fact that they already have the new line. But the indications are that he's going to take on the new line, yeah. But and suddenly they're starting the creaks in the English form all of a sudden.
Pharrell Potters.
Yeah, so like from maybe being new line and like Potter's Charm to me is out of contention now.
Is he gone?
I would have thought so.
But
Yeah.
what about this whole we shouldn't have ran him and he wasn't ready and it was our mistake. We shouldn't have ran him. He's much better than that. You'll see a different horse in March.
Yeah,
is that a load of, as Johnny Dineen famously said, poo-poo?
Yeah, look, there's the type of things that a trainer, if they want to get paid, should have been asked before the race. You know what I mean? Yeah. I say, well, Nigel, what's the story? There's not much good telling for us afterwards. I backed it anyway.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. I thought it was a good thing in that race, but and it was backed off the board 4 to 5 to 8 to 15.
Yeah,
So so obviously people that go down into the ring now, I wouldn't have rejudged your horses in the parade ring. They definitely didn't see anything wrong with it in it, because that would have filtered into the betting if it was whatever, if it looked bad or it was gone in its coat or whatever. You know what I mean? Like I tell you what I didn't like about Potter's Jam. His effort from the back of the last was horrific.
I still thought he had a chance coming into the
last. You think he'd be very close to winning now. I didn't think he might get there, but I said he's going to get beat about a length.
Yeah.
But he's beat, like, he couldn't walk on the running, could he? Like,
no.
It was a tame finish, and to me, I wouldn't have him anymore. And you start looking at the new lines for him now all of a sudden, and you're saying, look, the likes of Bill Joyce, and Wendigo, and the horse there, Electric Avenue, and you're saying to yourself, we've seen this movie before. Mullins come and slaughter these horses when the time comes, and that's why
we know the ending.
Yeah, that's why I'd be afraid now that maybe something like Cowabunga could rear its head in the race.
And if, like, just say Kopek the boards goes and bolts up,
like
you'd be worried then, wouldn't you?
Well, Kopek the board's probably going to go to 2 mile races.
But I mean, like, you'd be worried for the English in general if there was a very impressive winner of the.
Well, another thing in what I think is like the fact that they have no horse of any description in the 2 mile division.
England?
Yes.
Yeah.
None whatsoever. I can't think of one anyway that with any sort of a chance. Yeah. It makes you wonder, how could the 2.5 mile farm be any good then? You know what I mean? Because it's just like the kind of crossover horses and that. So from thinking the new line, I still think the new line is a good horse. It could be an exceptional horse. Yeah. But I'm just a small bit suspicious of the form, and I don't think he's certain that or as big a bet as I would have said he was last week as he is now. Anyway, you know what I mean? Okay. And plus we're going to see something probably decent in the Dublin Racing Festival as well next weekend. Yeah. But I just think Cowabunga put his hand up as being a possible Cheltenham winner on Saturday. Yeah.
There you go, Johnny Dineen, star of the week. It's Cowabunga. So from Cowabunga to Johnny Dineen's one for the Racing Post tracker, the horse that caught his eye over the last 7 days. What is it, Johnny?
Yeah, look, it's a horse I really like. It's a horse called Meet Me by the Sea. He won again in Doncaster. Fell in the race.
So your one for the Racing Post tracker is a horse that's won his last, 3 or 4
he's
starts?
He's won his last 3 now, but I think he's way better than his rating though. Way better. I think he's the makings of a graded horse minimum now. You know what I mean? I can.
He fairly hits the line in his races, doesn't he?
I just think he's crying out for 2.5 miles. That's it. He's only like.
Now I've asked you this question before, so see, do you remember the answer? What was the name of the horse who beat him in this point to point?
He Can't Dance.
Very good, Johnny.
Yeah. So I told you, I'm learning all the time.
Yeah.
He Can't Dance, but he's won twice in Ludlow. He's won a maiden hurdle in Ludlow against very little. Then he beat the Gamble Brewery in Ludlow, and then he won in like the 3 days he's won. I'd say Ludlow didn't suit him at all, and for starters, and the Gamble Brewery's no mug either, and he beat him fair and square. Now I know he was getting weight off him and all that, but he still did. He put him away nicely. And the last day there was a huge bias against making the run-in in Doncaster with the headwinds. I'd say virtually no horse won in Doncaster making the run-in for the weekend. Loads of races changed there dramatically in the last furlong and a half. Yeah. Even Cobden rode the first winner there that day, a horse belonged to Emma Vale, and won in the walk now it did. But he was at pain sustained behind the horse all the way up the straight. He didn't produce it until the last hurdle. And it won by half the track afterwards, you know. But there was loads of horses that were ridden up in front, like the likes of in the mare's hurdle there were Why Not and they were well beaten afterwards. I'd say in the hurdle races, I'd say there was hardly a horse made the run in all the weekend except him. But I suppose he wanted it further. He had to make the run. And the other horse, there was a queue to pass him at one stage. You know what I mean? There were about 4 horses going probably better than him. But he fights well and he's a great attitude. But he's going to be much better horse.
Where is he going to go?
I've no idea. Would he? I wonder, is he eligible for that final in Sandown?
Oh, you think he might go to Cheltenham?
Well, you see, he's not. He needs 2 more runs for the Martin Pipe. I presume he wouldn't go. He's not going to bump him.
That's the thing that people kind of get wrong as well. The Martin Pipe is not a novice hurdle, even though novices tend to win it.
Yeah.
It's not a novice hurdle.
No.
It's an open handicap hurdle.
Like he needs 2 runs for that. He's probably not going to run in the 2.5 mile race when they already have 2 horses there. Maybe they'll consider him good enough for a grade 1 in the entry, 2 mile 2.4. But either way, like I think he won off 126. I'd say he's 20 pounds better horse than that when he gets a trip. Yeah. I think he's a smashing horse. He is, with a great attitude.
There we go. One for the Racing Post tracker. Get it in there. He could be running grade 1s. It's Meet Me by the Sea. So let's find out Johnny's never ordinary moment. The one performance from horse or jockey or anything at all, really, Johnny, that took your breath away. What was it?
I suppose, look, Moon d'Orange in Cheltenham was a great.
This is pocket talk now.
No, it's not. I never backed it.
You tipped it and you didn't back it?
I didn't back it, no. I didn't back. I kept missing the prices. Went down to around 4 to 1. I said, next he dipped under that. And I said, you know what?
Is this another love letter to Sean Bowen now?
No, but like, why I put it up is because I was watching it on the way around and I said, geez, I'm looking back this yoke. Look at the state of this trying to run. You know what I mean? I said, I'll be ashamed. Look at it. It's going to pull up. And next thing it turned in, I said, this is actually getting into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I said, still probably won't win, but it's going to make some sort of a shape now. I'm not going to be as disgraced as I look like being. And the next thing it won. And like, you could hardly believe it, could you? Like, really? And it was. But what I like about it was that he did it like he took a dive at the last. Got to the front, and then after all that, you'd say he was actually going to get beat.
Yeah.
And then he's forced to back up on the line again. Like, it's some effort by the rider now at the same time. But look, you can be for this eulogising about Bowen. I just have a soft spot for Bowen now, to be honest. But I just think he wins races that he shouldn't, and that's the difference between being.
That was one of them.
Well, it was, and I think anyone that backed him would be very happy with him anyway at the end of that.
There you go. Moon d'Orange at Cheltenham on Saturday was Johnny Dineen's never ordinary moment. Now let's have a slice of Johnny's midweek treat. It was all going so well, and everybody was giving out, oh, Johnny, only tip odds on shots. Oh, Johnny, anybody can tip odds on shot. And then next thing, he goes, he tips against a Willie Mullins, Patrick Mullins ridden odds on shot. And Gentleman Bill at Catterick last week traded 1 to 10 in run, having gone on nearly. Did it go off about 4 to 1 or 7 to 2 in the end?
Yeah, it's a big drifter.
Big drifter trades 1 to 10 in running on the exchanges.
Yeah,
it was a sickler, Johnny, but it was a good pick.
Which was not. It's not a good pick when you don't get paid.
Okay, well, that's fair enough.
It was a loser. So
we're at 5.
I didn't realise it was 1 to 10. I actually give it a good chance coming away. I didn't think there was a 10s on chance at the same time though.
We were going for 5 in a row, Johnny. So unfortunately, we only got the 4 in a row. But you are 5 out of 11. So you have 5 winners from 11 weeks. So it's still going well. Now, what I have to say is here, there's a lot of racing called off in England this week. There's no jumps race in Ireland on Thursday. So we're just...
Yeah, I hadn't much to go with.
The terms and conditions have changed a little bit for this week's midweek treat. So we're letting Johnny have a stab at something in England at the weekend.
Yeah, well, like Wednesday and Thursday are out because there's nothing there. Barry pulled something out of the sand, which isn't great. You know what I mean? So,
literally.
Yeah, the all-weather in Dundalk. I didn't bother now. So I went with a horse. I have to go for Saturday, even though it's not midweek. Technically,
so Johnny's weekend treat.
Yeah, it's one of them, a midweek, weekend, whatever it is. Anyway, but I'll go with the Kaluki kid in the. It's the Scottish
Champion Chase, 250, I think.
It's a 2.5 mile handicap chase on Saturday. I think his horse is improving and it's a good jumper, nicely down the weight.
You might be back in that, will you?
I would. I think I'd go with that, yeah.
Okay, there we go. The Kaluki kid at Musselburgh on Saturday is Johnny Dineen's kind of midweek treat, but this week it's his weekend treat. And now it's time for what's happening this week, our Dublin Racing Festival mini preview, where we're going to have a quick look at all 8 races at Leopardstown on Saturday and Sunday. Kicking off on Saturday, Johnny, with the Nathaniel Lacey and Partners Novice Hurdle. It is a race that often throws up a Cheltenham Festival winner over the years. Kick us off with a winner.
Yeah, look, Mullins is a good strong hand here, I'd say.
Oh, does he?
On this
really?
race? Yeah, he does.
Are you just going to press copy and paste for every single race we're going to preview now?
Not every single race, but he does have a strong hand.
He has the favourite for every single Grade 1 at the Dublin Racing Festival.
Does he? Yeah.
And the first 2, I think, in all but one or two.
Oh, I
of
didn't
them.
realise that. No, he's the front couple here anyway, or in around that. He's first three here. He's got the horse that won in Limerick, Final Demand,
yeah.
Super Sundays in it.
Yeah.
And my old pal Sounds Victorious.
Yeah, your old buddy, old pal.
Yeah.
Are you going against him?
Look, Sounds Victorious is a 3 mile plus horse, 3 miles. What'll the ground be like? It'll be soft.
Well, the only thing I'll say is it absolutely pelted down. I'm about half an hour from Leopardstown, not far from Fairyhouse. It pelted down all night last night. Driving in today, Johnny,
Yeah.
you could barely see in front of you with the rain. So we have got a lot of rain in the last 24
and
hours.
there's no drying this time of year either. I just expect the ground to be soft anyway, won't it? Yeah. So look, I'm not losing faith in Sounds Victorious, but he could still have a say in the race that I'm talking about and be a good second here. Do you know what I mean? Like, he needs to perform here he needs to a minimum a podium finish to have any chance. But
are you convinced he's a better horse than we've seen so far? Over
I do. I think he's the makings of a really good 3 miler. You know what I mean? I do think we'd only see him if he's any good. We'll see him at 3 miles. What he's capable of. Look, any horse that could finish fourth in the Cheltenham bumper that wants an extra mile can't be that bad anyway, in my opinion. So look, I wouldn't lose faith in him just yet. But Final Demand looked like a really classy horse in Limerick. Now, he had no winner's penalty for that race. He was getting £8 off Will the Wise. But saying that, Timmy Tuesday went to air. He was second. He won. Will the Wise won since with his mouth open. Even the fourth horse, a horse belonged to the orange colours there. I'm not even sure. Neville's, is it? They've William Neville or something. Neville. They've had fairly goodish horses over the years.
Seamus, is it?
Yeah, Seamus Neville. Yeah, them people. Yeah. That ran in the bumper went back for a bumper in Fairyhouse. Finished third in a goodish race last week. So that form to me looks rock solid. And Final Demand won with his mouth open. I actually was on it that day, and if you backed it, if you had your house in it, you never had a moment's worry. She didn't the race over at halfway. Looks a classy horse. I'd say a lot classier horse than Sounds Victorious, though, for sure. Probably capable of going back and trip, whereas Sounds Victorious will probably want to go up. On the day, Final Demand will probably... He's not a great price, though, but he's the horse to have to beat.
So, basically, you've been talking nonsense about... Well, not nonsense, but you've been spouting all kinds of everything about Sounds Victorious since we started the show in the very first week. Could you actually back against him? Could you have it in your heart to back against Sounds Victorious?
No, I think
I'd say you'd back against your own
if I thought he'd no chance. I'd still be worried him in this race if it was a slog. You know what I mean? But look, your man looks a classier individual, and like if it was a 2.5 mile race, I would face Final Demand for sure. But once you get out of the past 2.5 miles, you need stamina, and it's look, he's short enough 13 to 8 for a horse to win Limerick.
So you're putting forward Final Demand?
I think so, yeah.
Ask me, what do I fancy?
You fancy what?
Sounds Victorious.
Do you? Right, okay.
Oh, I think he's going to slog it out. I think you've got that. I think you've hit the nail on the head with him. I think that at the Dublin Racing Festival and a race like this, I think they're going to go quite quick.
Maybe,
and I think it's going to turn into a slog. I think Sounds Victorious is very dangerous.
Yeah, look, I do think I'd expect him to be on the premises, but I could see him being outclassed in a race like this. Maybe not necessarily class, but beaten. Like, put it this way: if Final Demand took him out by 4 or 5 lengths, I'd be happy with that going forward. You know?
Yeah, okay. The Spring Juvenile Hurdle is the next Grade 1. We're going to look at St. Lucy against Hello Neighbour and Lady Alan Vega.
Yeah, I fancy St. Lucy very strong here. It was one of the better bets of the whole weekend. Just the way it won in Punchestown. Even the horse it beat belonged to, is it, who trained that, Canards or something like that, is it? Or Howard, or one of them people anyway. It ran well against Pure Steel down in Cork. There was no contest, St. Lucy. But what I do like about St. Lucy is Willie Mullins is saying oh, I think she's the real deal. He ain't saying that about the Vega yoke, is he? You know what I mean? So I think there isn't much between that Vega, what you call her again?
Lady Alan Vega.
Yeah,
we can go with the Vega yoke if you want.
Right, okay. But there's not much between Lady Alan Vega and Hello Neighbour on what we saw at Christmas. Very little.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look like he's rating Lady Alan Vega in the same league as St. Lucy the way he's talking. You know what I mean? He's on about being the real deal and the Triumph Hurdle prospect and all that. I think if she's better than one, she'll be better than both, and there's nothing else can win it. I'd be going with her strong anyway.
Oh, there we go. St. Lucy for Johnny Dineen in the Grade 1 Spring Juvenile Hurdle. The Goffs Irish Arkle, Johnny. It is Majborough versus Atlantique. Look, I've underrated Majborough all along. He's a cracking horse, Majborough, obviously. But there is just something with Atlantique. I put him up for the Brown Advisory because I could just see him lobbing along in that. It looks as though he's definitely not going to go there. But with Atlantique, he is a different beast altogether over fences to what he showed over hurdles. And I just thought against Majborough. I thought if you were getting 3-1 Atlantique in this race where it looks a straight match, I thought that was a little bit of value. I think people shouldn't read as much into his hurdles form as they are.
Yeah.
You can disagree, it's fine.
No, I think it's very short, Measure. I think it may not be a 2-horse race.
Oh, go on, what else are you throwing in?
Look, I think that there are likeable horses in this race, aside from Measure. And
Throw a few out there.
I wouldn't fall down if In the Pocket, Firefox, Touch Me Not even had some sort of a say in the race.
Okay.
I don't rate it a 2-horse race. Okay. And I think it's a much sterner examination for Measure this time than it did beating Tully Hill and Asian Master, like then coming here after getting the run of the race and think, no, we'll Atlantic. So something has to give here. The both of them can't get the run of the race now, you know what I mean? So one of them isn't going to get the run of the race. I'd suspect that's going to be Measure. I would imagine that Eland and people will probably try and make the running. And everyone, I'm not saying In the Pocket, I definitely think he has some sort of a chance, because at the time it was really disappointing what he did in Ace, but like the Brahmans horses have run vile since the 1st of January, and he's in that bracket. Like his horses have run absolutely deplorable, haven't they? Like, and now saying that they have to bounce back in, they are continuing to run terrible. I mean, how bad did that run? Cocktail diving, like he was beaten 22 lengths by the second horse in that race. Like there was, you'd have to say that if you like looking at that race, I didn't give him that a great chance. Cocktail diving, so it had to run better than it did, and it didn't run. It run atrocious. So his horse is out of form, but at some stage they are going to come back to form.
And he is a brilliant trainer, getting them right for the big days.
But at some stage they're going to come back to form. Whether that'll be next weekend, who knows? Probably not. But he's still a dangerous yoke. It's going to be 16 to 1. I think Firefox.
He's also entered in the handicap as well.
Yeah, he is. Firefox is dangerous. In always going to be a danger in some.
He just is, yeah.
Yeah, and even Touch Me Not as a horse that if he got loose in front, who knows what he could do. Yeah. Look, I just think Measure with one run over fences in a race like this, at the price he was, I couldn't get over how short he was. Yeah. I'd be keen enough to take me chances in opposing, maybe, you know.
I'm with Il Atlantique there. And finally, the Irish Gold Cup. It is Galloping the Champs v Factophile Part 3.
Yeah, look, I think you couldn't really oppose Galloping the Champ. I'd expect him to confirm form with Factophile again, yeah. And it looks like between the two, they set a standard. So I'd be going with Galloping the Champ. It's going to be short and it should win. Whether they want to back him at what price he's going, what price is that going to be? 7 to 4 on, 2 to 1 on, or something like that. It should win, that shouldn't it?
Okay, Galloping the Champs for Johnny in the Irish Gold Cup. Those are the 4 Grade 1 races on Saturday. And fast forward 24 hours to Sunday, and we kick off with the Ladbrokes Novice Chase. Now this is going to be interesting, because I don't know if you've noticed from watching previous shows, Johnny Dineen probably isn't the biggest Ballyburn fan. Long odds on here, Johnny Dineen, to get his chasing campaign back on track. I spoke to Ronnie Bartlett earlier on this week, and he was very much of the opinion that, you know, getting beaten by Sergino could actually be the making of Ballyburn. And he thinks it'll do him no harm whatsoever. Could we see a different Ballyburn here? Up and trip and no Sergino. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, look, it's possible. Yeah, it is possible. Of course it's possible. I think it's possible in the horses, but...
Is it probable?
I just wouldn't back him. I do think if the likes of... What's going to take him on, though? It depends on what's in against him. Cham Kiley, maybe? And maybe better days ahead or times ahead.
Yeah, better days ahead.
Yeah, look, I think Ballyburn, if he doesn't get a solo in front, and I'm hoping that he won't, I think he's vulnerable in racing.
Is he, yeah?
I do.
Will you be laying Ballyburn?
Look, I
Could
might,
you though?
I might just get a little peek at the first fence or two, and see what way he's going. Like, put it this way: if you lay him and he jumps the first, flies the first, and he's left loose in front, then you get a nasty pain in your stomach. Then you know what I mean. But not saying maybe the game over, but it's put less pressure on his jumping if he's allowed to dominate a race. But if Cham Kiley bucks out in front and he has to maybe pass 2 of them, put pressure on his jumping, I can see him getting beat then. I definitely wouldn't back him anyway. Definitely wouldn't back him. I do think his jumping is going to be his Achilles heel anyway.
Could he be the next Galloping the Champs?
I doubt it. I don't even fancy him in the Brown Advisory. I don't fancy him to do anything yet this season. But we'll see. We'll see on Sunday.
Now, Johnny, I'm going to rewind 12 months, okay? And we did a Dublin Racing Festival preview on Upping The Ante. This time last year, you were stood in that very same place, and you were not very keen on Ballyburn at all, I think, were you?
Where?
going into the Dublin. No, sorry, going into his maiden hurdle win, wasn't it?
No, I wasn't keen on him early on, but it then became a believer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, after he was beaten by Firefox, he was gone from your. No, forget about him. He's not going to be a top
Yeah,
horse.
I didn't think he would be.
And then it
but then
turned.
at Christmas, when he destroyed them horses, I was saying, yeah, he is.
So could it turn here? Could it turn? Could you come back here next week and say, do you know what? He's the next gallop in the Champs.
Look, if he's ridden in say third place, jumps every fence, pings him, and wins by half the track, I'll say, yeah, hands up, I was wrong. Yeah, definitely.
You're a believer again.
Yeah, it's a bit like them cults, you know what I mean? You lose faith in the leader, like the wacko and all them kind of fellas. Yeah, but look, look, I just have a suspicion that if he's pressurised, he's going to come under pressure, obviously, and his jumping will come under pressure, and I can see him throwing jumps that won't necessitate winning a big race like this.
Tough word, that, Johnny.
It is actually.
You got it out eventually, yeah. Hopefully Ballyburn is much smoother on that.
That's the way I think he'll be jumping.
Yeah, like you pronouncing necessity. Okay, we're moving on to the Tattersall's Ireland novice hurdle. So Kate Doughty, Kopek the boards. What's your... I should say Kopek the board. I keep pronouncing the S, but obviously it's French. Kopek the board. What's your thoughts? You're a big Kate Doughty fan. Are you still a big Kate Doughty?
No, not really. Look, I think he has a chance. I think he has a chance, obviously. Look, you just don't know. You just don't really know what rate of progression is in some of these Mullins horses. Some of them improve a lot as the season goes on, and like he's just really starting to put the boot into fellas now, isn't he? Mullins, like he's winning 3 and 4 races a day. Yeah. You'd expect him to demoralise fellas above in this meeting, wouldn't you? Like he's going to win nearly every second race or more than that even probably.
Yeah, he could have 10 winners.
Yeah, he could have a lot of winners anyway, and. But if you look at it, I'm hoping Kate Doughty can take out Kopek the board. But if you look at it like realistically, the form of his race at Christmas has worked out poorly. Couldn't have worked out much worse, in fact. Kopek the board beat Kawabunga, or whatever it's called.
Kawabunga, yeah.
That's really solid form. Yeah. Kopek the board knocked down every hurdle in the place.
Yeah,
and still won.
Yeah.
Like realistically, you'd have to think Kopek the board has slightly more solid claims than Kate Doughty. I still have a feeling Kate Doughty is a good horse. I'm not so sure is he going to be a top horse at the moment, but we'll see. And we're hoping that I would probably want to have a better race because I have a few bob on the Ante-Post, and I'm hoping that he is as good as I maybe thought he was. But put it this way, if I wasn't involved in him, I think I'd be going the other way now myself.
Okay, there we go. And he is, if you are in Leopardstown, go down and have a look at Kate Doughty in the ring. He is a beautiful specimen.
Right.
Yeah. He's like Jennifer Lopez or something.
All right,
okay. Unreal. Right, and the Ladbrokes Dublin Chase is the Grade 1 over 2 miles and 1. And it sees Gaelic Warrior hopefully putting it up to John Bon in the champion chase here. Will he win?
He should do, yeah. I mean, if he's to have any claim like for Cheltenham, he has to win here, I'd say.
Yeah. It's not a track he's had much luck over.
No, I suppose not. No, yeah, it's true. It blew out here last year. But like these are Marine Nationals and them, like they'll have no say in the champion chase. He should be able to beat these horses. Like Solness, and like he has to. He was
hammered by Solness.
He was, but like this will be slightly slower ground, and Solness is running.
I agree, which I think
all the year. Like he'd look a solid enough favourite to me now, to be honest. I definitely wouldn't oppose him. Like a horse that I thought was overpriced here. Again, it's the stable that's going desperate. Is Calixius. I think he was some sort of a chance. He'd be nearly the biggest danger, I'd say, to Gaelic Warrior. I'd rate him having the better chance than the likes of Solness and Marine National. But like I suppose you'd have a better guide by then how the Brahmans horses run. But at the moment, you couldn't touch him in the barge.
So Gaelic Warrior one of the better bets of the weekend.
He'd look a better 6 to 4. What price is he? 4 to 6 around that?
No, I don't think he's that short.
Is he not?
Okay.
I'd much prefer to back him than Majborough anyway. To that much.
Okay. And the final race we're going to look at is the Irish Champion Hurdle. Lossiemouth, Stateman, maybe brighter days ahead, who knows. We don't have the entries at this stage, Johnny. But if it is Lossiemouth against Stateman, what camp are you in?
Oh, Lossiemouth, good thing. Absolute cert. Yeah, absolute bet of the weekend, Lossiemouth, yeah. I was looking at fellas going 4 to 5. That looked a great price to me, 4 to 5 and 8 to 11. I didn't back it though because I can't get on them bets. But it's like Stateman to me, on the back of, I actually can't get over how short Stateman is in the champion hurdle. He's only about 11 or 12 to 1.
So one bad run, you're just not forgiving him. Gone.
But he's beaten twice now at the same time. You know what I mean?
But one stinking run.
Yeah, well, it is a really poor effort.
And nothing seems to there seems to be no explanation for it. Nothing that showed up. He just ran bad. It's just you know. If
I mean,
you'd like to see something showing up.
I would have fancied maybe Lossiemouth to beat him from the start of the season. I do think if Lossiemouth can't take out Stateman, the current Stateman anyway, even Stateman at his best, she have no chance in the champion hurdle otherwise. You know what I mean? If at his very best, if she couldn't take him out, this is a deeper race than the race that Stateman won the champion hurdle last year. And to me, getting the £7, I think she's a cert to beat Stateman. Of course,
Mares have a phenomenal record in this race recently as well with Honeysuckle and Apple's Jade. So Johnny is in the Lossiemouth camp, as am I, and that was your Dublin Racing Festival preview. The Big Punting Survey is back. Punters, it's time to have your voice heard on major betting issues. Plus, you'll automatically be entered into a prize draw for one of 5 £50 Amazon vouchers. Visit racingpost.com/BPS or scan the QR code to take the survey today. Now it's time for DJ versus JD, our weekly charity bet competition. And the scores at the moment is I'm plus €187.50 and Johnny is minus €187.50. So Johnny, what have you got for us? How are we going to get you back in profit?
Yeah, I need to pull something quick now, so I'm going up a bit in price. 5 to 2 is big for me.
5 to 2, Johnny.
I'll go with St. Lucie in the race, that 4-year-old race in Leopardstown. I just like the way he's talking about it. It impressed me myself now without even hearing what he says publicly about it. I did nearly fancy it anyway. I have a feeling that race at Christmas, Hello Neighbour, and that Queen de la Vega or Vega, whatever she's called.
Lady Alan Vega.
Lady
or
Alan.
the Vega yoke, if you want.
Yeah, Vega, that mare, or a filly. Well, I have a feeling that St. Lucie might be better than that form, and I'm going to go with that. I'd expect that to be under 5 to 2 too as well now. If it's Paul Townend is a cert to ride at, isn't he? So if it's a stable choice, I'd say that could go off under 2 to 1 anyway.
Okay. So there you go. Johnny's having 50 quid on St. Lucie at 5 to 2 at Bet365 in the Grade 1 Spring Juvenile Hurdle at Leopardstown on Saturday. And I'm going to Sandown on Saturday. Not the Silly Isles, but I'm going to the 125, the Novices Handicap Hurdle. And a horse I've tipped on the show before in this segment and keeping the faith with Not So Woolly, who runs in his first handicap off a mark of 118. This is a good horse. I think he's going to make a graded chaser in years to come. And I think this is a nice piece of place. And he was due to run at Exeter this week, but Exeter's been called off. And I presume he's going to go here instead. He's 8 to 1 Bet365. I think he's a good bit better than the mark of 118. I could see him being rated higher than maybe 130 by the end of the season. Nice weight. Brendan Powell is jocked up at this stage. And I think Not So Woolly is a horse we're going to be hearing a lot more about. So I'll have 50 quid on the nose on Not So Woolly in the 125 at Sandown on Saturday. And if that wins, Johnny, you're in big trouble in this competition.
I'm gone, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That'll be a knockout blow, without a sure. That's for sure.
450 quid back. Fingers crossed, Not So Woolly in the 125 at Sandown on Saturday. And that is this week's DJ versus JD. So it's Festival Squads time here on Up in the Ante, where myself and Johnny may or may not add to our teams for the Cheltenham Festival, which is fast approaching. And my list got a bit of a blow at the weekend. Obviously, Johnny, we spoke with Potter's Charm, put up on the show 22 to 1. Had gone into as short as 5 to 1. Is now back out to double figures, and you think he's just gone, unfortunately.
No. I just think on the back of what he did, you'll struggle to.
My list, I have to say, my team was looking great about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And then it's so funny how it just comes back.
Oh, it can, absolutely, yeah.
Cargisi was beaten, and Potter's Charm was beaten, and all of a sudden you're going, oh, God, it's deflating. But anyway, the show goes on, Johnny. And you're kind of been keeping your powder dry, Kay Doughty. It's a big weekend for you, Johnny, because you could get some back into the mix here. Even the likes of In the Pocket could get back into the Arkle mix. You've got Kay Doughty, obviously, as well. You've sparked a big gamble on Angel's Dawn in the Hunter's Chase. And Sounds Victorious, who I think might win, actually, at Leopardstown this weekend. You'll be dancing, Johnny, if that wins.
Look, exactly. Well, the DRF is going to put horses out of circulation or put them very much in the forefront. That's the way.
You could be in rag order here now.
That's it.
Or you could be in phenomenal order.
Well, you could like if Kay Doughty did something proper or sort of you've prospects going forward, or else you'd be drawing a line through them. It's possibly.
Well, if Kay Doughty in the pocket and sounds victorious win at the weekend, Johnny, I'll carry you in on my shoulders
All
next
right,
week.
so that's unlikely. But if goodish runs would do me with one or two of them, you know what I mean?
Okay, there we go. Are you adding to your list this week?
No, I'm not. I'm going to wait till the DRF, and then most of it is over, and then I could pick them.
You're worse than Paul Carber. You're waiting all day.
Yeah,
long.
I can pick them all the way in then, because I have 4 or 5 bullets to go.
You have 5 left.
Have I 5? Yeah. Well, I'll be able to go week by week then from now on.
So you're promising us one next Tuesday?
Absolute certainty.
Promise.
I could have put one up this week, but I'm going to leave
You're gonna hold
I'm
on.
going to just leave it live because the kind of price went, and I didn't get on it yet.
Yeah, I was going to say, did the price go because you backed it, Johnny?
No, I didn't package it. No, I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't. I can put it up next week, but I'll definitely be putting it up at some stage anyway.
Well,
Definitely.
Does it run this weekend?
No, it doesn't run this weekend. No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Will you tell me after the show?
I will. It's run. It's done. It's running. It's done. It's running for Cheltenham. It doesn't need to run anymore.
Oh wow. Okay, there we go. I'm intrigued now. Johnny, yes, and I'm putting one forward. I'm putting my first handicap. Well, it's actually not my first handicap suggestion because I put up Delta work for the cross country chase, which is now a handicap.
And mine's in a handicap as well. Actually,
Is it?
It is.
You're joking.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
All right.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry
Okay.
to interrupt.
Okay, there we go. But anyway, now is the hour for my tip here on Upping The Ante. Is it now is the hour?
Oh no.
Oh, okay.
No.
All right. Okay. There we go. I thought I might throw in something there. But I'm going to put up Valgrand in the county hurdle for Dan Skelton, who's won 4 county hurdles, would you believe, since 2016. And just that mark is down to 134 now. He's rated 140 after winning at the showcase meeting where he was brilliant that day. Jumped fantastic. The form hasn't worked out particularly well with Gail Mahler finishing second, but just a brilliant jumper who's got all his runs in early in the season, has been given £6 back for 3 runs since he won the showcase meeting. He went toe-to-toe with Potter's Charm at the November meeting at Cheltenham. Loads of Cheltenham form. Look, he ran a stinker at Kempton over Christmas, but I'm willing to forgive that run. And I watched him the previous time at Cheltenham where horse got loose on the lead and he was held up that day. And I just loved the way he travelled down the hill that day. I still thought there was plenty in the tank. And I kind of came away from that day, even though he was well beaten the second last time in his penultimate run at Cheltenham, I came away from that day saying that horse is going to win the county hurdle. And I've been waiting to put him up on the show. Obviously, he didn't run well at Christmas, but forget about that. And the price is just dwindling and dwindling. And people are catching on to it. And even somebody got in touch on Twitter to say they fancied it. I was like, okay, I have to get him up this week. So Valgrand to me off 134, I think is well handicapped. Course form ticks plenty of boxes for me, Valgrand. Young horse, improving, had his 6 runs over hurdles, qualifies for the race. I presumed he'd be aiming at the race. So I'm going to put up Valgrand at 20-1 in the county hurdle. You'll see that price on the site, 20-1 Valgrand for the champion hurdle is my latest addition to my festival squad. It's Valgrand in the county hurdle. And finally, for episode 12 of Upping The Ante, it's Johnny's joke of the week.
All right.
Take it away. Oh, did you forget?
No, I didn't know. You
just looked surprised
Yeah,
there.
no, you surprised me slightly. Yeah,
Okay.
but anyway.
Well, I hope you're going to surprise me here with some really good rant.
Look, I was there at home there one day during the week, and
Where are you? Do you spend much time at home?
I do a lot of it. But anyway, I was playing away. It was Sunday. It was all weather racing on there.
You were playing away during the week.
Yeah, I laid this horse anyway, and he was beaten anyway, so that was fine anyway. So the next 2 races around the other chance, so it switches back to at the races again, or Sky Sports racing. And next thing I can hear him saying Jamie Osborne just after losing a race or something like that, and Hayley Moore was on. I know I like Hayley Moore. I think she's good.
Yeah,
she's
great.
nice.
Yeah. Lovely
like,
person. Yeah.
She's a nice girl, and you can listen to her, and she's enthusiastic and funny in that. You know what I mean? So next thing I heard her saying, Ash, look, these things happen. Mistakes were made. You know what I mean? And I make mistakes every day of the week. And the next thing my ears are cocked now. I said, what's he talking about? And next thing I said, Jesus, I laid a horse in that race that she's on about to something after weighing in light, you know what I mean? So next thing I said I knew the horse I laid didn't win, obviously, but I wasn't sure whether it was second or third. So I went back to check the result, and here it's after getting the race. I didn't even know it, right? So they're on about the horses,
weight class,
the weight class. So I'm saying to myself, like, in this day and age, like, that should not be happening, should it? Like, weight class, like, the fella's not putting on weight class. It's a joke, isn't it?
It is the most ridiculous system.
Yeah.
This weighing in, I have been rabbiting on about this for yonks. It is a disgrace. Go on, you continue, and then I'll pick it up.
My reading of the whole thing should be that there's, like, in this day and age where modern technology and all that, there should be some sort of a chip in the weight class.
It should be checked.
Yeah,
going into the parade ring.
Yeah, that you have a weight cloth on. That you pass put this way, it's like a thing in a supermarket. I mean, you can't go into the supermarket, fill up the trolley, and walk out the door. Like, can you? Like, then an alarm will go off or something like that.
Have you tried it, Johnny?
No, but soon the way we're going. But anyway, like it should register somewhere that this guy has no weight cloth on. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
Like the situation that you can nearly at the moment is your man is supposed to put the weight cloth is up the stand watching the race. Next thing, the phone rings in his pocket. And that's the wife, I'd say. Next thing, he pulls out the weight cloth. Like, you know what I mean? Oh, Jesus. Forward to jump. You have no weight cloth on. You know, it's like that Father Ted kind of stuff, isn't it? Like, you know what I mean?
It is.
Like, and on top of that, it leaves the whole game open to skullduggery, where fellas can leave the weight cloth out intentionally and back every other horse in the race 1,000 to 1 and get paid.
Of course, absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? Or 800 to 1 or whatever it is. So, like, it's a ridiculous situation. In this day and age, like, that you have to...
It is so dated, the system.
Yeah.
But Johnny, even elaborating on that, the whole weighing-in procedure is a joke. It is the most important... A horse is not a winner officially until a jockey weighs in. And there have been so many instances where jockeys have weighed in, have failed to weigh in, or walked past the clerk of the scales and gone into the jockey's room or whatever, and just were thinking about other things or whatever, right? How in this day and age there is not a weigh-in scales beside the number one? So the first thing the jockey does when the jockey jumps off is get onto weigh-in scales. I don't care if it's Turles on a Thursday, if it's Fairyhouse on a Wednesday, if it's Tramore, there should be a weigh-in scales in every winner's enclosure, that the jockey cannot do one single thing until he gets off. Gets on the weighing scales. Because, Johnny, they're posing for photographs. In a lot of the tracks, they're passing through the crowd. Passing through the crowd before the weigh-in. Fellas congratulating, pose for a selfie. So all you have to do is pull the yoke, run away with it, and you're back a loser. It is.
I agree.
I've been writing about it for years. Right. It is unbelievable that horse racing in 2025 can be operated like this.
No, and it should be. The weighing out anyway, or after it, should definitely be in the parade ring, shouldn't it? Like, without a shadow of a doubt.
They do it on the big days, you'll have it up on the middle of the parade ring, right? But still plenty of people have to pass before it gets to the jockey. How there can't be a weighing scales right beside the number one, so jockey jumps off onto the weighing scales, and that there's a steward there from the IHRB or somebody from the authorities, be it the BHA, and they are saying, my job is to make sure you get from that horse and onto that weighing scales. I agree with you, and like it would speed up the process of calling winner all right and everything. You know, it's a no-brainer. And really, there's even interviews now. So a jockey, before the jockey weighs in, and I've done it in parade rings and different as a journalist, where a trainer mightn't be there. You interview jockeys, and they could have done 2 or 3 interviews before the weigh in.
It's true.
Madness.
It really
sorry, you go back. It's your joke of the week. Sorry.
No, but it's but as you say, like a fella goes into a melee around Cheltenham, but 50 fellas around him. You know what I mean? And it only takes something to do something like that somewhere, and there's going to be furore. But like the fact that you can even go out, like the biggest premise in gambling anyway is if you cannot win, you can't lose. And if you back a horse with no whatever the saddle cloth, you can't win. You cannot win. So basically, like if I back a horse with you to win the Cheltenham bumper, and he's not qualified, he's too many runs, I cannot win. You know what I mean? I'm entitled to my money back. Now, in a situation like this, you can't have rule force. No, that's very messy. They should just cut it out before it starts. The fellas are saying, you should get your money back on a horse to no weight. I don't agree with that. They should get it right.
So what should they do?
They should get it right before. There should be no need to go down that road.
But I'm saying, did you lose your money then the other day?
I did. I made the winner at about 6 to 1, yeah.
So what happens then? Like, what can they do? If this situation happens again, what should be done?
Well, they should get it right that it can't happen. Do you know what I'm saying? That it should be that once you pass through this chip system or whatever way they do it, that obviously they cut that out completely. Basically,
absolutely.
And you stop it from at the root of the problem. I mean, I don't agree with saying fellas are saying there should be a rule 4 because your man couldn't win. That should never happen in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there are serious issues around weighing in and weighing out procedures in racing. It's something that I think there's a lot of things we can't fix in racing. This is one thing we can.
I think so, yeah. It's a fairly simple fix too, I'd imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. That's Johnny's and mine kind. I chipped in there. Joke of the week. So that is it. That is this week's Up in the Ante, done and dusted. And what I should say is Bet365, our sponsors on the show here, are now non-runner, no bet on all 28 Cheltenham races. But what they do brilliantly, Johnny, is that there's 2 separate markets. So if you want to take a proper Ante-Post market, which our tips are, you can bet on that. And they've also got a non-runner, no-bet market as well.
Okay.
So can't say
that's
fair
fair
enough.
enough.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's good.
Well, that's true. Yeah, no, that is fair because
That's from tonight. Okay, so tomorrow you can go in and you'll see the 2 different markets on each Cheltenham Festival race. Any plans for the week, Johnny?
yeah, sure. I've Leopardstown Saturday.
He's going.
And Sunday maybe, yeah.
You're going?
I'm going Saturday, definitely for sure, and maybe Sunday as well, yeah. We'll see how we get on.
How many selfies do you think you'll post?
No, not too many, no.
What would the market be? Over or under 20?
4 or 5 maybe, I don't know.
4 or 5?
Can
Can I take over?
You can if you like, yeah.
I'll go over 4.5, right? I get Aoife to go up and ask for 5. Okay. Yeah, it's going to be, look, it's a great weekend, great crack. Rugby is obviously on as well. There's a bit of a buzz around Dublin this weekend, isn't there?
Yeah, I think it's a bank holiday on Monday, isn't it?
It is, John.
Yeah.
Every day is a bank holiday.
Yeah,
for you.
well, it is. I mean, when you have more than 40 years, every day is the same, isn't it? Really, yeah. But anyway, and I hope to keep it that way too.
Yeah, I think you do.
Look, but I didn't realise that it was a bank holiday until someone said it to me the other day. As you said, and is there racing on Monday? No, nothing.
Oh, I think this is your bugbear of yours.
No,
I don't know.
I don't know either. It doesn't matter. I don't really care, do you? Because there'll be something on in England, it'll do me fine. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Leopardstown. Actually, it'll like there'll be bubbles busting. There'll be horses that, as I said, they're going to. It's going to change the landscape of what we've been doing with the last 10 weeks, anyway, for sure. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And best of luck with all your selections at the Dublin Racing Festival. But until next Tuesday, and if you do see Johnny at the Dublin Racing Festival, do go up and say hello. He loves that, don't you, Johnny?
I don't mind. Yeah, that's no problem in the world.
And if you are having a bet at the Dublin Racing Festival, don't forget to gamble responsibly. Only bet what you can afford to lose. But until next week, where we'll be reviewing all the action at the Dublin Racing Festival, I've been David Jennings. He's been Johnny Dineen. Thanks for watching Upping The Ante.